The Swans had a shock loss, it must be said. We'll talk about the Tigers in a moment, I'm sure you'll want to. But they also had an incident going into the game. Well, incident's not the right word, a situation, Caro, which Sam Edmund first shed light on. We can hear from John Longmire in a moment, but first, what can you tell us about this?
Well, this too was probably salacious and gossipy and tabloid, to quote Tom Morris.
And justified because it affected the footy.
It did affect the footy. So Sam Edmund broke this story on Saturday that Sam Wicks was sent home, essentially, Craig, from the football program 2 days or 3 days before the Richmond game. It was decided he wouldn't play at any level of competition over the weekend for the Sydney Swans. It related to an issue between Wicks and a teammate. Now, Wicks has denied any sort of inappropriate behaviour with a former partner of a teammate, and the club now believe him. But the incident allegation became so heated and so potentially divisive during the week, but by the time club bosses think they got to the bottom of it, it was too much damage had been done, and dramatically it was decided that Wicks would not take part in the football program for a few days. I understand that there will be a coming together of Wicks and his senior teammate in the next day or two, and Sam Wicks will be back in the footy program tomorrow. But a very un-Sydney Swans-like, un-brothers-like story.
They've had a poor week, the Sydney Swans, haven't they? With the AFLW players and then a loss and then this. It's been an un-Sydney-like week.
Yep.
John Longmire said this on AFL 360 tonight.
Most of the things you deal with in football over my time has been, a lot of them, it has been non-football. So it's just one of those things that you need to make sure that you work through. We believe we're working through that well. We certainly think we gave ourselves the best possible chance to win the game on the weekend. We didn't do that, and unfortunately that was the end result of what happened on Sunday. But we're mature enough to be able to work through that and get our focus on the footy.
Will he play this week?
Not sure yet. We'll see how the week progresses.
So clearly still a work in progress, and some mediation needs to go on, and that will happen.
I don't understand, Caro, like if he's been cleared of any wrongdoing, firstly why he didn't play on the weekend.
I think if Sam Wicks was honest, he might say that it was a situation he could have contained a little bit earlier, and that it got out of hand. And don't worry, tempers were flaring, and it wasn't just the two players who it was causing friction between. A lot of the playing group were very upset by this.
And then they were hit with an intense Richmond, which they clearly didn't see coming.
Well, that was the thing that Richmond had been disappointing with, particularly against Port Adelaide with their pressure rating. How was their pressure against Sydney? So with Sydney, what a strong ball movement team they are. This is what you have to go with. You have to bring this sort of heat. So there's the pressure rating. I thought it was just enormous. They laid 14-4 forward 50 tackles. They came from everywhere, and it was a big win on the MCG. We led the program with Richmond last week and exactly where they are at. It's going to be difficult for them, and winning like this is hard, but you've got to admire this performance on the MCG against one of the powerhouses so far in 24.
Brown, Campbell and Morris Rioli, all some pretty promising performances.
Yeah, no, they were really good, Caro. I think there's a concern now with the injuries they've got and Lynch.
Oh, it's a disaster, and Baker's been suspended as well.
I don't know what's happening with their high performance, but the repeated hamstrings they get to their key players has been happening for 4 or 5 years. We've discussed it on this program. I don't know if they're concerned about it or whether they're just at that stage of their career, like Prestia and Lynch and players like that, but they have so many soft tissue injuries, it's not funny, and they're going to hurt.